Welcome to the deep dive. So, you asked us to explore some unique Japanese culinary traditions.
We did.
And today, we're diving straight into okonomiyaki.
Oh, okonomiyaki, a classic.
Right. This savory pancake. It's a fantastic example of Japan's flour culture, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And get ready, we're about to unpack its, fascinating origins, what makes it so darn appealing, and all the different delicious ways you can enjoy it.
It's really quite remarkable, isn't it? Because okonomiyaki isn't just like one single dish.
No.
No, across Japan, you find so many different takes on it, different ingredients, different cooking methods.
Ah,
It really shows off the creativity and sort of local character you find all through Japanese food.
okay, let's get into this then. The name itself, right, that tells you a lot.
It really does.
Okonomi means your choice or what you like.
Yep, your preference.
And yaki is just, well, grilled or cooked.
Exactly.
So right from the get-go, this is a dish you can really customize, make it your own.
That's spot on. And that whole idea of using whatever you fancy or whatever you have on hand, it really gained traction after World War II.
Oh, interesting. Why then, specifically?
Well, there was a real need for food that was, inexpensive but also filling, voluminous.
Right, makes sense.
And okonomiyaki was just a brilliant way to use all sorts of ingredients to make something satisfying, nutritious. It kind of shows how sometimes necessity leads to something pretty special.
Okay, but here's where it gets, really interesting, historically speaking.
Uh-huh.
The roots, they might actually stretch way, way back to the Azuchi Momoyama period.
Whoa, okay, that's going back.
Yeah. There's this theory, a pretty compelling one, that it evolved from something called funoyaki.
Kunoyaki.
Yeah, it was a tea snack. And get this, possibly created by Sendo Rikyu, the tea master.
No way, Sendo Rikyu, making pancakes.
Well, sort of. A connection, at least, between this, humble pancake and the super refined world of the tea ceremony. It's wild.
So what was this funoyaki like?
Apparently, it was pretty simple. Baked, just flour, water, maybe some sake, and seasoned with sansho pepper or maybe sweet miso.
Huh. Simple beginnings.
Very. And if you connect those dots, you can sort of trace this fascinating line from those early tea cakes and other simple flour snacks called dagashi.
Right, those little sweets and snacks.
Exactly. And see how they transformed, especially in places like Hiroshima and Kansai.
The two big okonomiyaki regions.
Precisely. Into the distinct styles we know today. It really highlights how food traditions get shaped by, local history, what ingredients are around, culinary ingenuity.
That Japanese resourcefulness again.
Totally. So okonomiyaki isn't just tasty food. It's like a living history of that resourcefulness and how different areas took a basic idea and ran with it in their own unique way.
It's a great summary.
Okay, so with that backstory in mind, what exactly makes it so popular? Why do people love okonomiyaki so much? Our sources seem to point to three main things, three big attractions.
Right. The first one, and maybe the most obvious given the name we just talked about.
The economy part.
Exactly. It's the sheer number of ingredients you can use and that incredible customizability.
How many are we talking?
Well, potentially, you could combine like up to 30 different things in one okonomiyaki.
30. Seriously? That's amazing.
It is beyond the basics, cabbage, maybe some pork belly. You can throw in all kinds of seafood, shrimp, squid, octopus,
Oh, wow.
plus things like cheese, kimchi, mochi. The list just goes on. It really feels like the possibilities are endless.
It sounds like half the fun is just figuring out your own perfect mix. It's like experimenting.
Absolutely. Does this huge variety ever lead to some, let's say, unusual combinations? Or things that sound weird but taste amazing?
That's a fantastic question. I bet it does. You must see some really interesting local variations or just, personal creations that people swear by.
Definitely. And that experimentation, that variety, it kind of leads into the second big attraction.
Which is?
The texture
Huh.
and the aroma. Specifically the kind you only get from cooking it on a teppan grill.
Ah, yes. The teppan, that flat iron griddle.
Exactly. You get that wonderful contrast. Our sources nail it. Crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside.
That sounds so good, that textural difference.
It's key. And then there's the smell while it's cooking. That sizzle.
Oh, yeah.
Mouth-watering.
Totally. And then you have the toppings.
Right. The finishing touches.
The special sauce, usually sweet and savory, maybe some mayonnaise, often drizzled in a cool pattern.
Uh-huh.
Then the aonori, that green laver seaweed powder.
Adds that subtle sea flavor.
And the bonito flakes. Ah, katsubushi, those little dried fish shavings that kind of dance from the heat.
They look alive. It's a whole sensory experience, isn't it? Sight, smell, sound, taste, texture.
It really is. A feast for all the senses, like you said.
Okay, so customization, texture, and aroma. What was the third attraction?
Yeah. This one might be a little less obvious at first, but it's
Yeah.
really important. It's okonomiyaki's role as a communication tool.
A communication tool. Interesting. How so? Explain that a bit more. How does making a pancake help people communicate? Well, think about the whole experience of making it together, especially at home or in some restaurants where you have a grill at your table.
Okay.
You're chopping the cabbage, maybe mixing the batter, deciding who adds what.
I see. It's interactive.
Exactly. It's a shared activity. It encourages talking, working together. It's a chance to bond with family, with friends, just through the simple act of, cooking a meal side by side.
Right. Teamwork makes the dream work. Or the okonomiyaki work.
Something like that. And then, of course, you all sit down and eat the finished product together. You enjoy what you made.
Sharing the spoils.
And that creates those special memories, around the food, around the table.
Makes total sense. It's more than just the food itself. It's the whole process, the shared creation and enjoyment.
Okay, I'm sold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably getting hungry.
Me too, actually.
So, for those of us now seriously craving some okonomiyaki, where should we go? Our sources gave some recommendations, right? Both big chains and maybe some smaller spots. Yeah, they did. Let's start with the chains, because they're usually easier to find across Japan.
Good plan.
Boteju is a really well-known one, famous for their special sauces, apparently, and they have a pretty diverse menu.
Like?
Well, beyond standard stuff, they have things like a Matsunabe-style okonomiyaki.
That's nabe, like the awful hot pot.
Yeah, that kind of flavor profile. And a seafood platter version, too, so they mix it up.
Sounds like they get creative.
Okay, who else?
Then there's okonomiyaki do tambori. They actually got voted #1 for popularity in 2024.
Wow, #1. What are they known for?
Fun stuff, it seems. Like keys stuffed pork balls, they call them tanteki. And these mega-sized pork balls? Sounds pretty hearty.
Definitely sounds filling.
And it's good to know they make a point of using 100% domestic vegetables.
That's a plus. Okay, any other major chains?
Chibo is another big one, ranked #3 in that same 2024 poll. They're mostly based in the Kansai region, Osaka, and surrounds.
But you can find them in other places too, like Chiba Prefecture. And interestingly, they often serve Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki.
Ah, okay, so even the chains sometimes specialize in a regional style. That highlights the difference again.
Exactly. Quick reminder on that.
Yeah.
Hiroshima-style often involves layering the ingredients, batter crepe first, then cabbage, meat, noodles, egg, all stacked up.
Right, layered.
Whereas Kansai style, more often, you mix most of the ingredients right into the batter before you cook it.
So different textures, different cooking process.
Yeah, it leads to a pretty distinct result for each style.
Got it. Okay, so those are some widely available chain options. What about the smaller, maybe more independent places, the one-off shops?
Right, the sources mentioned a few of those too. These often have a very unique character.
Like?
There's Kanaya. It's a long-established spot, apparently really famous for its teppan yakisoba alongside the okonomiyaki.
Yakisoba.
Yeah. They're only open weekday evenings, it seems, but known for a real traditional flavor. Lots of cabbage sweetness. Sounds very classic.
Like a real local institution kind of place. What else?
Ajinoi Main Store. Another one that's been around a long time. And they're apparently super strict about using only domestically grown cabbage.
Quality ingredients.
Seems like it. It's considered a really authentic experience, even got attention from international media. So probably a great place to try a basic, classic mixed yaki.
Sounds solid. And what if you want something maybe a bit more modern or stylish?
For that, the sources point to Okonomimi Solgoku.
Okay.
They do things a bit differently. Ultra-thin noodles, a very thinly baked dough or crepe.
Oh, interesting. So maybe a lighter texture.
Sounds like it, yeah. A softer result. And the place itself is described as having a more sophisticated interior. Maybe good for, a date night okonomiyaki.
Okonomiyaki date night. I like it. Okay, so it really sounds like there's an okonomiyaki joint for pretty much every taste and occasion.
Digs that way.
All right, now for the practical stuff. Let's say you're there, you've ordered, or maybe you're even making it yourself. How do you best enjoy it? Any tips from our snackers?
Yes, definitely. First thing, and we keep coming back to this, embrace The customization.
Lean into the economy.
Exactly. Don't be shy about mixing and matching ingredients. Find combinations you love. The sources specifically mentioned a seafood version as being popular.
Makes sense. Seafood cooks great on a teppan.
It really does. And, like we talked about with the communication aspect, choosing ingredients with others can be a really fun part of the whole thing.
Definitely. Okay, what else? What about the actual cooking?
Experiencing the teppan cooking? That's huge. Whether you're doing it yourself at the table, which some places offer,
Yeah, that's always fun.
or just watching a skilled chef work their magic on the big grill. There's something really satisfying about seeing it get that perfect, crispy, fluffy texture.
The transformation.
Right, and that moment when they cut into it with the spatulas, the hira, and that amazing smell just hits you.
Gets the appetite going for sure.
And if you are watching a pro, you can really appreciate the skill, the craftsmanship involved. It's not always as easy as it looks.
I bet. And apparently, even the way you eat it isn't standardized.
That's right. Even cutting it up has regional styles.
What?
Well, there's the grid cut, little squares. That's common in Kansai. Makes it easy to pick up pieces with chopsticks.
Okay, practical.
Then there's the pizza cut, cutting it into wedges, maybe more common in the Kanto region around Tokyo. Ensures everyone gets, a fair slice.
Democratic okonomiyaki.
Sort of. And then some adventurous folks apparently eat it right off the griddle, using smaller spatulas, kote or hira. Carefully, of course.
Brave.
And you also see the folding method, especially at street stalls, yatai. Fold it in half, wrap it up, makes it easier to eat on the move.
Like okonomiyaki to go, it really shows how adaptable it is.
Absolutely. And it ties back to those regional differences too. Hiroshima style, with its layers, might be eaten differently than the mixed Kansai style.
Fascinating stuff. Now, one more angle. What if you want okonomiyaki, but, you don't want to go out? Can you get decent okonomiyaki at home?
Yes. That's another practical point from our sources.
Yeah.
It's actually quite easy to enjoy professionally mounted stuff at home now.
Ow.
Frozen options, they're readily available.
Oh, okay. Like frozen meals.
Exactly. You just pop them in the microwave usually. Super simple heating instructions.
That sounds incredibly convenient for a quick meal when that craving hits. Did the sources mention any specific brands or types to look for?
They did highlight a couple of examples you might find, say, online on places like Amazon Japan or in stores.
Okay.
Boteyu, that chain we mentioned, they have a frozen set called Ganso Tanju, comes with their sauce and mayo.
Nice. The full kit.
And Chibo, the other chain, also has frozen sets. One example mentioned had their pork ball, a mochi cheese version, and a scallion one, plus some takoyaki too.
Oh, it's a variety pack. That's great. So it's accessible even if you can't get to a restaurant easily.
Exactly right. Very convenient.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. We've gone from these really humble beginnings, simple flour snacks, maybe even linked to tea ceremonies, all the way to this incredibly customizable, regionally diverse, super popular dish that is modern okonomiyaki.
Quite a journey.
We've looked at the flavors, the textures, that crucial crispy, fluffy combo.
Can't forget that.
And also the freedom it gives you with ingredients and how it even acts as a way to connect with people.
Yeah, the social aspect.
And whether you're tracking down a famous local spot, visiting a reliable chain, or just heating one up from the freezer at home, there are just so many ways to enjoy it.
Absolutely. It really hits those key points.
Yeah.
That sense of freedom, the amazing flavor, and the communication or connection aspect. It makes it a really compelling, attractive part of Japanese food culture.
It really does. And on that note, maybe here's a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on.
Ooh, okay.
Think about this idea of a customizable pancake. A simple batter, cooked flat with various things added or put on top. It pops up in so many different food cultures all over the world, right?
That's true. Crepes, pancakes, blinis, dosas.
Exactly. So what might that tell us about, human creativity or our basic instinct to take something simple like flour and water and adapt it, personalize it, make it our own wherever we are?
That's a really interesting point, comparing those different traditions.
Yeah. Perhaps exploring that global family tree of savory pancakes.
That,
Well, that sounds like a delicious deep dive for another time.
I'd listen to that.
Until then, happy cooking and happy eating.